Hey everyone, please subscribe to this amazing video. It helps more than you know. And now let's begin. My name is Linda Hayes, and before the world ever knew me as Dr. Hayes, before Forbes ever printed my name, I was just the quiet kid in a house where love had a direction, and that direction was never toward me. Growing up, people driving past our house would always say, "Wow, that's a picture-perfect family. 2 stories, white trim, hedges cut so straight they looked ironed." From the outside, yeah, we looked normal. But from the inside, it was like living in a movie where I wasn't just the extra. I was the extra the camera forgot to film. My mother, Margaret, ran the house like a director, always rehearsing one script, always starring one actress. My sister, Sophie, the miracle child, the golden girl, the sun everything revolved around. If you walked into our living room, every picture frame showed Sophie in the center, her smiling at dance recitals, her blowing candles, her wearing glittery dresses. And then, somewhere in the corner of the picture, barely in focus, that was me. Accidental. Background decoration. Mom used to say with this sweet but sharp voice, "Oh, we don't brag in this house, Linda." Right before she bragged about Sophie to the entire neighborhood. I swear she could have put Sophie's mom on her license plate and no one would have questioned it. Dad wasn't much different. When Sophie danced, he stood up like the president just entered the room, camera out, smiling so hard his face probably hurt. And when I brought home straight A's, he didn't even lower the newspaper. Just a muffled, "That's nice, kiddo." Like I told him the weather. 16, Sophie got a brand new car. Red bow. Matching ribbon. The whole dramatic commercial look. People on our street actually came outside to watch her unwrap it. Like Christmas came early. I got her old bus pass. With a little "Be grateful, Linda." And I said thank you. Of course I said thank you. Because in my house that was my job. To not want too much. To not make noise. To not exist loudly enough to bother anyone. Dinner every night was like a script we'd rehearsed for years. Dad talked about work. Mom praised Sophie's latest sparkle. Sophie giggled. And I cleared the plates. Silent. Invisible. The smell of lemon dish soap became the smell of me disappearing. Back then, I tried to convince myself I was strong, that being independent was better, that I didn't need anyone anyway. But, even as a teenager, I knew that was a lie I was swallowing like cold medicine. When I got into college, which took months of studying, essays, interviews, I practiced asking for help with room and board. I mean, who doesn't get help from their parents at 18, right? I rehearsed it for days. I waited for the perfect moment. Dad relaxed, newspaper folded, TV humming softly. Mom sorting laundry like she was judging each shirt. I said carefully, I'll need some help with rent and meals." My voice shook a little. I hoped they wouldn't notice. Mom didn't even look up. Dad said without emotion, "You've got scholarships, right? You're 18 now. You'll manage. You'll manage." Those 2 words carved something out of me. Not anger. Not rage. Just emptiness. Cold, quiet emptiness. That night, while Sophie snored softly across the hall, I sat under a dim lamp filling out loan forms. The glow of the computer was the only warm thing in that room. And I remember thinking, they don't even realize I'm leaving. Not really. Not emotionally. I'm just disappearing from their script. College was survival mode. Ramen. Lap shifts. Side jobs. I sent home texts at first, short ones. "Hey, doing okay? Classes are good." Just little lines, hoping someone might say, "How are you, Linda?" They never did. The family group chat kept lighting up, though. But with the same thing as always. Sophie's new dresses. Sophie's vacations. Sophie's engagement to some guy with perfect Instagram hair. I muted the chat. Muting your own family. It hurts in ways you don't feel immediately. It's a slow bruise. Then came the one thing that changed everything for me. The day Dr. Elena Cruz chose me as her research assistant, I will never forget the first time she looked at my work and said, "You're meticulous, you think you don't just follow instructions." No one had ever told me I was worth something intellectually. No one had ever noticed me like that. The lab became the first place where silence wasn't judgment. Silence was focus, purpose, a heartbeat. And for the first time I felt seen. By graduation I had built this calm wall around myself. I stopped waiting for mom's approval. Stopped hoping dad might say, "I'm proud of you." I stopped asking for anything. I thought I was free. I thought distance meant healing. Then came the picture. A single photo that cracked my calm right down the middle. It was Sophie again. Smiling. Holding a shiny condo key. Behind her, a lake view gleaming like a screensaver. And the door had a giant red bow. Sophie's sixth red bow moment probably, same kind they gave her when she got that car years ago. And I thought, they told me I was on my own financially. They told me to manage. They told me I'd figure it out. And a week later she gets a condo? 2 bedrooms. Granite counters. View of the lake. Not even a "Hey Linda, how are you doing? Do you have rent money?" I didn't throw my phone. Didn't scream. Didn't cry. I just stared at that red bow. The same shade as every time they celebrated her life and ignored mine. That night, I placed my phone face down on my desk and went back to recording polymer dissolution rates like nothing happened. But something had happened. Something big. Something final. Home stopped being home and became an old idea I didn't fit into anymore. My scholarship covered a basement apartment. Thin walls, humming pipes, constant smell of noodles. I spent more time in the lab than in my bed. Dr. Cruz checked on me more than my own mother ever did. Sometimes she'd ask, "Do you ever take breaks?" I'd shrug and say, "Breaks are expensive." She'd smile sadly, like she knew exactly what I meant. Then came the moment that truly confirmed the person I was becoming. Dr. Cruz called me into her office, warm lamp, piles of books, half-finished coffee. She said, "Linda, you're different lately. I hope whatever you're chasing for yourself, not to outrun someone else's shadow." I didn't answer, because the truth was, I was chasing both. Then the offer that changed my future. Stanford, fully funded PhD. A dream I'd earned alone that I didn't tell my parents, didn't tell Sophie, didn't send pictures, didn't ask for blessings. I packed my dented Honda with notebooks and dying plants, and drove until highway signs said California. Somewhere along that road, I stopped being a daughter. I became someone building her own life from scratch. And for the first time, I wasn't scared of that. Hey everyone! If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to subscribe. It really helps. Alright, let's continue. Stanford felt like another universe. A place where people didn't measure worth by attention or favoritism, but by curiosity, grit, and discovery. That I belonged to the midnight shift of the lab, the quiet crew who preferred pipettes to parties, playlists to small talk, fluorescent lights to sunlight. And the silence there wasn't neglect. It was focus. It was freedom. Every so often my phone would glow with new messages from the family group chat. Pictures from holidays. Sophie's engagement ring. Mom's captions calling us her beautiful girls. I wasn't invited, of course, but I scrolled through with the strange detachment of a stranger reading someone else's scrapbook. Then one day, a text came just to me. No emojis. No warmth. Just, "Heard you finished your PhD. Congratulations. Maybe now you can help your sister with her business idea." No question mark. No "How are you?" No "We're proud of you." Just expectation. I stared at the screen for maybe 10 seconds, then blocked the number. And that was that. Years passed. My work grew into something bigger than I ever imagined. A tiny biotech startup built from endless nights and stubborn faith. That's when Mark Reynolds came into the picture. Mark wasn't like the others in Silicon Valley, not the loud self-important types. He was sharp, grounded, the kind of person who notices things quietly. We built something real together. A company with purpose, a team that mattered, experiments that failed, and then succeeded, breakthroughs that no one saw coming. Investors started calling me Dr. Hayes, the same name that once meant nothing at my dinner table. Now opened doors in places my family never even imagined existed. Success came slowly, then suddenly. Funding rounds, more breakthroughs, headlines I never dared dream of. Everything felt steady, focused, mine. And then, of course, the past found me. A friend texted me out of nowhere. "Hey, your mom just posted about you." I blinked. Mom? Posting about me? I opened Facebook, a site I hadn't touched in years. And there it was. A picture of Mom and Sophie posing like they lived inside a magazine ad. Mom's caption read, "So proud of my daughters. One runs a business, and the other just made a scientific breakthrough. A mother's sacrifices are finally worth it." Sacrifices. That word hit like a stone dropped into deep water. I stared until the edges of the screen blurred. Not because it hurt, but because it was such an outrageous rewrite of history that my brain couldn't process it. She had erased years of silence. Years of ignoring me. Years of choosing Sophie. Years of leaving me on my own. She had rewritten the story so she came out as the hero. I wanted to comment. I did. Something like, "We haven't spoken in 10 years. Or what sacrifices?" But then I realized, she didn't post that for me. She posted it for her audience. To be admired. To be praised. To be the mother she wished she had been. Not the one she actually was. So I said nothing. And that silence drove her crazy. A few weeks later, my assistant buzzed my office. Linda, there's a woman here asking for you. She says she's family." My blood went cold. Family. A word I had buried long ago. I straightened my blazer, calmed my breath, said, "Send her in." And before I even saw her, I smelled her perfume. Vanilla and guilt. Too sweet, too familiar. She walked in gracefully, hair immaculate, pearls gleaming, a confidence that filled the room like perfume. "Linda," she said, arms wide like we were in some emotional reunion scene. Like she hadn't abandoned me long before I ever left home. "Mom," I said, standing slowly. She looked around my office. The glass walls, the framed patents, the awards, the humming machines, taking inventory of everything I built without her. "So this is where all the genius happens," she said, smiling. "You didn't even tell us." Imagine my surprise reading about my own daughter in Forbes. I forced a polite smile. "You could have called." "Oh, I did," she said lightly. "You changed your number. But that's okay. Family should celebrate together, right?" Her voice was honey, but her eyes were sharp, scanning my desk, searching for something. I motioned for her to sit. She opened her purse, slowly, deliberately, and pulled out a folded sheet of paper. "Actually," she said, "I came because I've been thinking a lot about everything I've done for you. All the sacrifices. The years of raising you girls. It hasn't been easy." A chill crawled down my spine. "What are you talking about?" She unfolded the paper and slid it across the desk. "This," she said, typed lines. Itemized. Private school tuition. Meals. Clothes. Time. Emotional labor. At the bottom total. $1,000,000. I stared at it. Quietly. Too quietly. Then looked up. "You're asking me to pay you $1 million for being my mother?" Her smile didn't move, but her eyes hardened like glass. "For everything I gave up. For all the things you could never repay." I let out a shaky breath. "Family doesn't work like that." She snapped, sharp, sudden. "Family doesn't abandon the woman who gave them everything." My voice steadied, surprising even me. "You chose to have me, Mom. Children don't owe their parents for existing. For the first time, she faltered. Then leaned in. You don't get it. I could have had a life, career, a husband who stayed. But instead, I gave it all to you. Those words echoed, but inside me something stayed still. Unmoved that I'd lived my entire life trying not to upset her. That ended here. I'll help with your expenses, I said quietly. But not this. Her face froze, then twisted. Then you're no longer my daughter. She stood, smoothed her jacket, turned at the door. Your father would be ashamed of what you've become. And then she left. The silence she left behind wasn't empty. It was heavy, alive, mercifully final. When the door clicked shut, I didn't move. The hum of the AC filled the room, a soft, steady white noise, almost peaceful that I stared at that paper, that invoice for motherhood, and something inside me cracked. The tears didn't come fast. They didn't explode. They just quietly leaked out. Slow, measured, like grief that had waited years for its turn to be mourning. I wasn't crying anymore. I was done. I walked into the lab early, before sunrise, before anyone else saw the storm behind my eyes. The machines hummed softly. Loyal, steady, mine. I wrote new notes, started a new synthesis, told myself, this is how you heal. With order, with proof, with meaning. An hour later, Dr. Cruz appeared with a cup of coffee. She looked at me, then at the empty space behind my eyes. She came, didn't she? I didn't ask how she knew. She always knew. She wants money, I said. 1 million. Dr. Cruz didn't flinch. She just asked softly, and what do you want? I thought for a long time. Peace, I said. But I don't think it's refundable. Hey everyone, if you're still here with me, thank you. And please make sure you're subscribed so you never miss these stories. Okay, let's continue. The next few weeks, honestly, they felt like my whole world was being pulled apart thread by thread. I kept checking my phone, over and over, waiting for Sam's message. Waiting for, I don't know, an explanation, a sorry, anything. But nothing. Just silence. A silence that felt louder than any scream. And that girl, the one who kept messaging me, she just wouldn't stop. Every day ding another notification. Did you miss me? Why aren't you replying? We need to talk. You don't understand what's happening. And every message felt stranger, darker. Like she was watching me. Like she knew when I was online. Like she knew when I was typing and deleted it. Like she knew when I was thinking about her that I tried to block her again. But somehow she kept coming back. New accounts, new numbers, new profiles. All with the same picture. That same smile that looked too wide, too sharp, too wrong that I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw flashes of that day with Sam, her face when she looked past me. The way she froze, her voice shaking when she said, "Do you not see her?" And the worst part, I started feeling like maybe I did see something. Not with my eyes, but with my mind. Like a shadow behind me. Like someone breathing down my neck when I was alone. Like I wasn't walking through life by myself anymore, that I'd wake up at night hearing footsteps. Soft ones. Moving just slow enough to be real. But just quiet enough to doubt myself. Sometimes, I'd hear a whisper my name but stretched out. Like it came from underwater. I'm here. I tried telling myself it wasn't real, that it was stress, that I was just imagining things because Sam had scared me. But then something happened that I couldn't explain away. One night around 3 a.m. My bedroom light flicked on by itself. Slow. Like someone was standing right by the switch. I froze. My chest tightened. I couldn't even breathe. And then my phone lit up on the table. A new message from her. No account name. No profile picture. Just a number with no location. No country code, nothing. The message said, "I've missed you. Don't ignore me again." I swear, the second I read it, I felt the air behind me move. Like someone stepped closer that I didn't turn around. I couldn't. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold my phone. And then another message popped up. Sam tried to warn you. My heart dropped. Like, completely fell out of my body that I texted Sam immediately. Please call me, please, it's urgent. No reply. 10 minutes passed. 20. An hour. Finally, around sunrise, she responded. Stop texting me. I don't want any part of this anymore. And that's when I knew something was horribly wrong. Not with me, not with Sam, but with whatever was following me, because from that moment on, it didn't feel like I was avoiding some creepy girl. It felt like something was choosing me, something jealous, something possessive, something that didn't want me talking to anyone else. And the more I pulled away, the closer it got. The messages got more personal, more intense, more demanding. And I realized this wasn't just random. This wasn't coincidence. This wasn't online obsession, no. This was something else. Something that wanted me alone. Something that wanted me only for itself. Something that was only getting stronger. And the worst part, it was starting to show itself. Not just in my messages, but in my real life. Hey everyone, thank you for sticking with me this far. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps. Now, let's finish this story. The night everything finally changed, it started the same way as all the others. That uneasy feeling in my chest, that cold draft that shouldn't be there. That sense that someone was standing just behind me, even when I was alone. But this night, I was done running. I was tired, exhausted, and honestly scared out of my mind. But I just couldn't live like that anymore, so I grabbed my keys, and I drove. I didn't even know where I was going. I just needed to move, to breathe, to get away from whatever had been following me. I ended up at this small old church on the edge of town, a place I'd never been before. But something inside me whispered, go in, you'll be okay. And for the first time in weeks, I listened. When I walked inside, the air felt different. Warm, soft, safe. There was an older woman sweeping the floors, maybe in her late 60s, gentle eyes, calm smile, the kind of person who makes you feel safe just by standing near them. She looked up at me like she already knew why I was there. You look tired, she said softly. Not judgmental, not confused, just understanding. I nodded. My voice cracked as I said, someone or something won't leave me alone. She didn't laugh. She didn't brush it aside. Instead, she walked closer and said, sit, tell me everything. So I did that. I told her about the messages, the shadow behind me, Sam's reaction, the lights turning on, the whispers at night. And she listened to every word. Patient, kind, never interrupting. When I finished, she placed a hand over mine and said quietly, you've been carrying something that wasn't meant for you. Something lost. Something attached itself to you because you were vulnerable. I swallowed hard. What do I do? My voice, it sounded like a child's. She took a slow breath and said, you don't fight it with fear. You fight it with release. Whatever this thing is, it feeds on attention, on fear, on loneliness. But if you tell it it's not welcome firmly with strength, it will go. I didn't feel strong. Not at all, but she guided me through it. She had me stand in the center of the room, close my eyes, place a hand on my chest and breathe deeply. Say it, she whispered. Say it like you mean it. So I did. I release whatever is trying to follow me. You don't belong to me, you don't control me, you don't get to stay. My voice shook at first. But then something changed. It got steadier, stronger. Like the words weren't just coming from my mouth, but from my whole body. And then the air around me shifted. I felt this pressure, like a weight lifting off my shoulders, off my back, off my mind. A warmth rushed through me. Not scary, not dark. A warmth that felt peaceful. almost like someone was gently placing their hand on my back and saying, "It's okay, you're safe now." When I opened my eyes, the room felt brighter, lighter, like whatever had been clinging to me was finally gone. The woman smiled. "That's it," she said. "You're free now." And I believed her. For the first time in weeks, I actually believed it. After that night, the messages stopped. The shadows disappeared. The whispers gone. The heaviness in my chest lifted. Sam eventually reached out again, apologizing for how scared she'd been. We talked it through. And we're okay now. Better even. Life felt normal again. Peaceful. Mine. And sometimes when everything is quiet, I still think back to that night in the church. Not with fear, but with gratitude, because no matter how dark things got, something or someone helped me find my way back to the light. And that's the end. A good ending. A real one. A peaceful one. Hey everyone, thanks again for watching. And if you're not subscribed yet, please do. It helps so much. Now here's a short final chapter to wrap everything up. Life after everything honestly felt strange at first, like stepping out of a long dark tunnel into sunlight and needing a moment to blink, breathe, and remember what peace feels like. For a while I kept expecting something to happen again. A shadow, a whisper, a message from an unknown number. But nothing came. Instead, life slowly went back to normal. I started sleeping better, eating better, smiling without forcing it. Even Sam and I rebuilt our friendship slowly, carefully, but honestly. One weekend we met up for coffee. She looked at me and said, "You look lighter, like yourself again." And I just nodded because, yeah, I finally was. There was no fear behind me, no pressure on my chest, no invisible eyes watching me, just my life, just my peace, just me. And sometimes that's the best ending you can ask for, not something dramatic, not something loud, but simply being okay again.